Morning. It's Witness Wednesday. Hope you're doing great. Witness Wednesday is where I share about witnessing what the Lord is doing in people's lives. And I'm just so excited about what happened about over 48 hours this weekend. I don't want to share that with you, but this started a long time ago. That made me prepared for exactly what I did for the Lord. And then more recently on Pentecost Sunday, this past month, I woke up and started just blessing the Lord and thanking Him and loving Him. And I said, what are we doing today? As I was praying, I heard Freemasonry, which I've looked up and studied and prayed through with people before. If you are a Freemason, I don't mean to offend you, but I want you to go to the Lord and ask the Lord about that. But this Sunday morning, Pentecost Sunday, the Lord led me to a resource of ministering to Freemasonry. And I had previously known somewhat quite a bit of it. But this one was really deeper and more eye-opening. And it had a missing piece that I didn't have with someone before. But I just want to share what happened Friday when I woke up and said, Lord, what are we doing today? At the end of a long day with some hard personal appointments, I was headed back to the house around 7:30 after being with a friend and praying through some things. And I saw a lady on the side of the road, covered, drenched in sweat, and waving some money. And I really felt impressed to pull over. So I did. She was, looked young, about the age of my kids. And she looked desperate. So I pulled over quick enough that just a few car lengths, and she came over and bent over to look in the car. And I said, get in the car. When she got in the car, this started quite a weekend. Now, my husband and I have a house rule after doing ministry in the house with people that we won't do that again. But I really felt impressed that that's what I was supposed to do with her. We have put people in hotels before, many, many times. We've actually paid to have entire families taken across borders into different countries for safety and protection. And most of those were Christian who were being threatened with death. But I just knew that this young lady shouldn't be put in a hotel alone. So I asked her what was happening. She had come to Charlotte to do some work. The guy who drove her drove off, stole all of her things and her phone, and all she had was the cash she had made that day. So she needed to go back to Raleigh. I said, well, who's in Raleigh? Boyfriend is in Raleigh. Why can't your boyfriend come and get you? He's on house arrest. He has a piece of jewelry from the government, so he can't leave. So I pulled into a gas station and said, why don't you go in there and get some water for yourself? I'm going to get some gas. So a friend happened to call me. I told him what was happening. And he said, why don't you put her on a train going to Raleigh? So he sent me a link. All the trains were done for the day. He said, Greyhound bus. So I decided I'd go put her on a Greyhound bus. But when I let her call her boyfriend to let him know what was happening, he didn't seem very boyfriend-like. He really had no compassion for her from, a love point of view. I could tell there was something else happening there. So we went to the Greyhound station, and all the tickets for that day, Friday, it was midnight. It was a midnight train to Georgia. They were sold out. The next available one was 2:20 the next day on Saturday. So she bought that one. And I knew I shouldn't leave her in the bus station all night long. She did call a friend here, and the friend here said, I have family coming in from out of town. I've got to clean my house. I've got to do my grocery shopping. I can't help you. And I took her to the car, and I said, look, I'm going to help you, but it's going to cost you. And I knew she was used to paying the price, but not the price I was going to extract. I said, I'm going to help you, but it's going to cost you. I'm going to take you to my home. I'm going to minister to you. And she said, okay. Now, what I knew was that she was high. I mean, really high, not pot. And in my experience, people who are on, the heavy narcotics are pretty open-mouthed and pretty honest. So she said, okay. So we got home and offered her something to eat. She said, no. And I said, we're going to pray. And she said, my boyfriend Josh is a Luciferian Freemason. Oh, that really got my attention. And then she said, and my other boyfriend was reading me the Islamic Bible. I said, girl, you're playing my song. So I knew at least some things we were dealing with here. So I said, we're going to pray. And, I'm going to let you take a shower. And you're going to go to bed. So I could see, she had light blue eyes. And of course, in a situation like that, the pupils are very large, and you can tell for sure, hey, good morning. You know what's happening. So, sat her down, and I realized I needed to get a bucket, a trash can. So I ran to my bedroom to get a trash can and brought it back, and she said, don't leave me again. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, when you walked out of the room, they rose up on me. I said, what are we talking about? She said, the demons. I said, okay, game on. So I put the trash can down because I thought she might throw up. But anyway, we prayed. And she was telling me what she was experiencing in her body, because I said, what are you experiencing now? And she would tell me, and we would pray that away. And I won't give you all the gory details, but at a certain point, I knew for sure we were finished, because I could see it. I'd made her look at me while I was praying, and I could certainly tell when we were done. And the moment we were done, she started taking off her jewelry. Bracelet, 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 earring, 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 threw it in the trash. And then she grabbed her purse, and she threw away multiple credit cards, all in different people's names. She threw away condoms and lube, because, how does a girl on the street get money for a bus ticket? She threw everything away, and she said, I'm so glad I'm here. And then she shared. She said, you see this place on my finger? I said, yeah, what is that? She said, last night I did get a hotel room. I was getting in the bathtub, and I'm coming down off of methadone, and I can't get my treatment because I've been stuck here a few days. So in order to get through the withdrawal from methadone, I shot up heroin. When I shot up heroin, I OD'd. I fell down face first in the bathroom, but not in the tub. If I'd gotten in the tub, I'd be dead. She said when I woke up, I had claw marks on my chest. I don't know how they got there. And she said, I found the needle that I shot up with, and I broke the needle. I'm never going to do that again. And part of it broke off and went into my finger. So I said, okay, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Now it's time to sleep. So she wasn't having any other symptoms. And she went upstairs. I said, here are some clothes. Here's a towel. I want you to go take a shower. She took a quick shower and came downstairs, and she threw away her clothes. Everything that she identified with that old person, she threw away. So I put her in the bed, and she slept for 12 hours. So I went to check on her, And I knew that there would be certain withdrawal things that I couldn't deal with. So I called a friend. This is phone a friend. And the friend gave me some really good advice. My friend's been through this with a brother. And she also warned me to get her to the ER because I could be found to be neglectful. So I was asking her, I said, what are your symptoms like? Have you done this before? She said, yes, I have. I've gone clean before. I've done this before. I said, what are your symptoms like? She said, nothing I'm experiencing now. I said, what are you experiencing now? She said, usually I'm extremely cold, but I'm extremely hot. It's like there's a fire in my belly. I said, well, let's call that fire of God to increase in your belly. So for the next several hours, I had to evaluate, actually a few hours, because the bus ticket was coming up, right? But I knew that she needed to go to the ER. I couldn't put her on a bus in this condition, because I did know she needed some medical treatment for the blood pressure that was so high. So we ended up going to the ER, and we were there for 6 hours while she was being treated, stabilized, etc. During this time, I had asked her, well, who is your support group? I don't want you to go back to Raleigh. She said, well, my parents. So found out parents are in Washington, D.C. Hey, good morning. And got in touch with Mom. And Mom was reserved, wouldn't really say very much to the daughter because she didn't want to feel like she was controlling. But the daughter decided that she would go back to D.C. to Mom, to her support in the community. By the time we'd been at the ER for 6 hours and come home, we needed a new ticket. So I called the bus station, tried to exchange it. And I did get, they did exchange it out for a little bit more money. So bought a new ticket for a different time. But now that was going to be more than 24 hours later. So I told her we were going to go home and she was going to rest. And you know, the first thing she did, I handed her a few books, some resources. She wanted to read the Bible. I said, absolutely. So she had grown up in a church family, and she had gone astray. Found out from her and from Mom, she had been sex trafficked. She had been stabbed 8 times. She'd been thrown off of a 75-foot cliff. I could see the injuries and the surgical scars, which she had then covered up with tattoos. Of course, back in the day when I was young, if you had track marks, everybody saw it because most of the time, 30-year-old ladies didn't have tattoos. But I couldn't see all her track marks because the tattoos were there. But I could see different bruises in different places of her body that were circle bruises. So I knew she'd done a lot of stuff, and recently, to keep herself going. But in talking with Mom and talking with her, I realized that the resources in D.C. Didn't really exist for helping detox. And then, Mom said, we've done this before. They only have 30-day programs, and then they kick you out. So this young lady said, well, in Raleigh, there's another program. They'll detox you, and then it's a 1.5-year program. And I really know that one has a higher success rate. That's where I want to go. And I said, well, you also have some bad connections in Raleigh. But she said, no, I can't keep doing this with my life. I won't connect with them. I'll just go to that place. So we found out she knew the name of it. I called. The intake nurse did an intake. Took less than 5 minutes. And they had a spot. So go God. So got in the car, drove her to Raleigh, dropped her off at the women's campus. If you ever come across a need for this, it's Healing Transitions is the name of it. Seems to be like a great place. I looked them up online, and it was easy for her to get an immediate appointment for the detox portion. And then there was a waiting list for the rehab, the extended rehab, inpatient rehab. Or I think the way that works is outpatient, but they also provide housing. So she was able to arrange for housing, and we spent a lot of time in that couple of hours driving there and back on the phone, making sure all the connections came together. But here's what I want to leave you with. I'm no hero. I just am a mom. I'm a mom whose heart was moved by a young lady on the side of the road. But, you know, when you look at the before and after of meth, I could tell she was before. But if somebody didn't do something, she would be the after. And you know, too many of God's kids right now are in the pig pen. Sometimes I think always they put themselves in there. And some who are in the pig pen might look very successful. They might not be on drugs. The drug might be self. But sometimes the drug is a chemical. And sometimes the drug is the wrong attention and affection that causes people to go the wrong way. But I just want to ask you today, I'm called by God to equip the saints. And I found out this young lady was a Christian, but she had let everything else drive her to the pig pen. All I did was come along, pick her up, dust her off, wash her off, pray for her, send her to rehab with some really good resources, including the Word of God. Most importantly, the Word of God. But I sent her there with love. Because when God calls us to take His children out of the ditch or out of the pig pen, we need to do that. No matter what the cost. So I want to encourage you today, when you ask the Lord, what are we doing today? Keep your eyes and heart open. He'll show you what you're doing today. You know, there's a cute little story about a man walking on a beach, and there were thousands of turtles that were somehow stranded, and the baby turtles couldn't get back to the water where they needed to go for life and health. And there was a little boy picking up a turtle and carrying it to the water's edge and putting it in and coming back. And the man looked at the little boy and said, "What are you doing? This is too much. You'll never be successful for all these turtles. You're wasting your time." And the little boy had enough courage and love and wisdom to say, "No, I can't help all of these turtles, but it mattered to that one that I was here and put it back in the water." So no matter what you're doing today, no matter what you're going through personally, just be open to what the Lord has for you. Because you may be directed to one that the Lord wants to highlight to you to put back in the water. You're going to save not just a life, but we don't know the value for the kingdom of this lady's life. It might not just be for her. Remember the man who came to Charlotte, North Carolina and held a tent meeting, was saved by someone, and then he in turn held a tent meeting where a young Billy Graham went to hear the truth of God and who himself was saved. And then Billy Graham, the rest of the story. So I don't know about this young lady, what she's going to do for God, but she was worth it, even if she did nothing except to turn herself back over to Him. So I pray for you to open your eyes, to ask the Lord, what are we doing today? And then just go do it. If I can pray for you, I would love to do that. If you'd like this really great resource in ministering to Freemasonry, I think it is the first piece after studying that for 8 years that has all the parts. And I think it will bring freedom to you. If I've offended you with mentioning it, I ask your forgiveness. But you guys have a great day. And I hope I've equipped you with some courage, with some thoughts, and with some strategies to hear from the Lord today. Just go sit and hear from Him. What are we doing today? Whatever He says, it sounds the weirdest thing, pops into your mind, you just pursue it. He once told me something big and important, starting with Toy Story. So you never know how He's going to speak. You guys have a blessed day. Try to keep cool. Thank God for electricity and air conditioning. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.